right, so I was watching a little bit of this segment this morning, and I don't know. They were talking about Odell again, and I wanted to, see if it was worth making a video about. And it is. On first things first, you have what's his name, Chris Bouchard, and you have, I forgot the other guy's name. I forgot his name. I wasn't even listening to his name, but they were going over the details of the drama that is Odell versus the Giants, and this guy made some pretty crazy statements, man, regarding Odell Beckham Jr. And I'm just gonna comment. I'm gonna let this play on for a little while.
Odell Beckham in a second, but first, college basketball, Wisconsin, Illinois. Khalil Iverson runs the floor. Nice foot pass.
Another Iverson on that one. Is that going too far?
It's a little too far. A little different body size.
A little bit. Good win. Illini. They turned around for Brad Underwood. Nearly had a huge win for him.
Next, Virginia Tech. Ahmed Hill steps in front of the pass, goes coast to coast. Dunk at the other end, shooting the gas.
We're not showing Virginia winning. We're showing Virginia Tech dunking. Okay.
We're showing highlights.
Listen, I'm okay with Virginia. It can be so boring. I'd rather watch some of the other teams go.
And finally, from All-Star Weekend, Jay Clark, the jumper. This is an acrobatic dunk. Wow. What's happening? Ooh, nice. He should have been in the dunk contest.
Nice. You actually have to be able to play basketball and be in the NBA dunk contest.
Moving on.
Sorry, this
Moving on. Moving on.
You know that.
Odell Beckham, reports are that the Giants were aggressively shopping him last offseason. That was until the Patriots came calling, and then they pulled their star wideout off the market. Remember, the Giants signed Odell to a 5-year extension last summer. Doug, should the Giants still look to deal Odell?
I love this story. This is like one of my favorite stories of all time. Like, man, let's see what the market can have, and all of a sudden you get a call from Bill Belichick, like, so you're thinking about Odell Beckham Jr. Like, no, who told you that? We love Odell Beckham Jr. Like,
and I went on record as saying that when I first heard this story, that's the first thing that came to my mind was the Giants, when the Patriots came and made an offer, because you don't usually see the Patriots go after big name talent like that. The last big name talent that they traded for aggressively was Randy Moss, and so at first when I heard that they were going after Odell, my first thought was, what is this, something about Odell that makes them think that he can be successful in the system? And I'm pretty sure the Giants, at first I thought the Giants thought the same thing, but then I thought about it, and I came to the realization that it had nothing to do with the Patriots calling. I mean, if you give up Odell, who else do you have on that team that's going to draw a crowd? Odell draws a crowd. He's extremely talented. I mean, you don't want to give him up, and you don't have somebody else that's going to bring in your fan base to have them want to invest money into you. Like, you need a draw. You need somebody that's going to fill the seats, and Odell fills seats. He may be dramatic, he may be a diva, he may be a distraction to some, but he's a draw, man. He makes the Giants money.
Dude, Belichick called. We're missing something. You're missing something. I mean, this is a disastrous story for the New York Giants. I mean, they give him a contract after 3 months of good behavior, and then
And before he finishes that thought, which I completely disagree with, this is a disastrous story for Odell Beckham Jr. because right now it's headhunting season and Odell is the target. Also Antonio Brown is a target. Like, they're trying to take these guys out because almost every segment I see with Odell, somebody's making some wild ass statement that makes Odell Beckham look look unworthy of being in the NFL. Oh, his attitude is too bad. He's too much of a distraction. He's not as talented. He's not this. He's not that. Let me let him finish.
Second the contract is signed, he goes back to being the exact same guy he was, only now empowered by this huge contract that you want to get rid of him.
And he says that, I don't remember, and I could be completely wrong. I don't believe Odell Beckham has done anything since his contract. Since he signed that deal, I don't think he's done anything. Now, he could be talking about the whole interview thing where he kind of threw shade at Eli Manning, but it's not like what he said wasn't true. I don't see him doing any more sideline tactics that draws attention away from the focus of the team. I don't see him doing anything that needs to. I mean, yeah, sure, he's on Instagram and all this other stuff, dancing and all this other shit, but that's his free time. But when he's with the team, I haven't heard anything alarming off the field, on field. So I don't know what he's talking about.
The steps of errors from taking Saquon Barkley instead of getting your future quarterback to signing Odell Beckham Jr. when you didn't have to. You could have let him play out the season and see if...
All right, so he just made a point, and this is one of the points that I wanted to touch on. He said that it was a mistake for the Giants to draft Saquon Barkley at number 2. Saquon is a stud. He's Ezekiel Elliott-esque. Like, you couldn't get as close to Ezekiel Elliott than with Saquon Barkley. I mean, this dude drew comparisons to Barry Sanders, and this is the first time I'm actually agreeing with the comparisons out of college. Like, I watched this dude's highlights, and like, I was amazed at the things I seen this dude do. Like, the things he was capable of doing on the field, I was amazed by. So I'm pretty sure there was a whole bunch of other people that was amazed by what this kid was capable of. And I was saying it right before the draft, they better take Saquon at 2. If they go quarterback at number 2 with no fucking running game, no offensive line, I'm telling you, if anything, they should have spent a second pick or either they had a second pick that they used on Will Hernandez, or it was another first rounder. I believe it was a second round pick. I don't know if Will Hernandez will be an all-pro player or anything like that, but right now, I don't think that pick was warranted, man. Like, I think they should have went a different route with that pick. Honestly, that second draft pick they had should have went towards a quarterback. Now, I'm trying to think of any quarterbacks that might have been available around that time that you could have taken. I mean, they got Kyle Lauletta. I mean, it'd be hard for a player to actually play or, do well if you're still holding on to Eli. I mean, shit, Kyle Lauletta could be the answer, but you're sticking with Eli Manning. But to say that Saquon Barkley was a mistake at number 2 is a lie. I mean, this guy was phenomenal, and I believe he's Rookie of the Year. Is out of either him or Baker Mayfield, apparently, but I would give it to Saquon. I mean, honestly, I think people are way too high on Baker. We've only seen 1 year from Baker, and quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks who's extremely talented, who have phenomenal rookie seasons, usually don't play so well their second year. Cam Newton didn't play so well his second year. Andrew Luck didn't play so well his second year. Robert Griffin III didn't play so well his second year. I mean, Andrew Luck held up a little more, but injuries and then, sometimes his poor decision making on the field, man, I don't know. He wasn't built up to the height that, people built around his name. So Baker right now, man, I'm putting him on standby. I'm not saying this dude's not good, or I'm saying he can't be great, but we need to hold off on the fanfare, at least for right now.
He was really a changed man, to the fact that now they're still kind of stuck in what do we do quarterback-wise? What do we do with OBJ? And then this story comes out that you legitimately wanted to move him. And then I hear Jay Glazer in his mailbag make a bold prediction.
That's what started this whole thing.
Makes a bold prediction that he'll be moved, and we know, like Jay Glazer, when he talks, like you have Hunt and people listen. Right. So I think this looks like a clown show in New York. That wait, you were going to trade him, but because Belichick was.
And this is on the Giants. This has nothing to do with Odell Beckham. They want to move him. They didn't move him. They gave him the contract to kind of calm him down, but also to hold on to him until they were able to find a suitable replacement that could take over that. And now that they have it in Saquon, now they're ready to move him again. Odell Beckham Jr. is a phenomenal talent. Any team he goes to, I see zero chance of him making them a worse team by adding him. I don't think his personality is that disruptive. I think he's just an attention seeker, like most of these young kids are. He's an attention seeker. I don't think it's a distraction, honestly, because you could just literally stop putting him on camera and ignore him. It's not like he's in the locker room causing friction. It's not like he's fucking fighting with players here and there. It's not like he's on the field doing stupid shit, fighting, all this other stuff. I mean, yeah, he has his issues off the field a little bit. I mean, you talk about the whole hotel room thing, you know, that was about it. That was about it, man.
Interested, you didn't want to. That's because that system, that program is run the way it's supposed to be run, where you get in line, if not, you're gone. That's it, period, end of story. He never would have gotten that big contract from the Patriots. He's incredibly talented, but it's hard to win with him because of all the other stuff he brings with him.
But here's the thing.
And to touch on something he just brought up, it's hard to win with Odell Beckham because of all the things that he brings with him. No, it's hard to win with Odell Beckham when you don't have any other pieces around him to help him win. If you had a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, I'm not saying a Pro Bowl quarterback, if you had a quarterback that was capable of making a Pro Bowl, if you had an offensive line that was able to hold up and not give up as many sacks as they do, year in and year out. You already got the running game. You have a good number 2 and a decent tight end. And if your defense could play a little more consistently with the stops, like if they could get stops more consistently, now you're talking about a playoff caliber team. It's hard to win with Odell Beckham because there's nobody else on your team. Like I said, man, for the past few years, the Giants have made some pretty questionable moves outside of Odell Beckham, Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley, Landon Collins, and that's about it. They made some pretty questionable moves, man.
What has he done? You said it's back to the old Odell. We know that he had the interview with Lil Wayne early in the season. Which, okay, you know, everybody knows Eli is a problem. That's their biggest problem. You said it. They should have drafted a quarterback. Eli's 38. He's not the same. He's not able to utilize Odell.
I agree with Chris Bouchard, except for the whole quarterback thing about drafting one. You couldn't get any better or couldn't do any better with that pick than with Saquon Barkley. And you give yourself a feature back, which you didn't have. You haven't had a feature back in a long time. So now you have your running back. You had your wide receiver before you decided you wanted to talk about trading him again. And now they got to spend probably the Giants won't be a playoff contender until they iron out some of these issues, man. Quarterback, offensive line, defense. So it's going to take them a few years, unless they strike gold in this year's draft. This team is still 2 to maybe 4 years away from actually doing anything. At that point, Odell should be at the end of his contract. He should be about 30. Saquon should be, probably 26, 27. A vet in the league. Probably a little more polished as a ball carrier. Look, it takes time, man. It takes time. And another problem, and this is also another thing that I didn't bring up in the last video, the coaching. I mean, since Tom Coughlin, how many coaches have the Giants been through? That's also probably a reason why this team can't win consistently. Why they're not playing so well. It seemed like either every year or every other year they have a new fucking leadership at the coaching position. So
now, outside of that, now maybe Jay knows that there's stuff going on in the locker room. Onside kick, he was on the hands team, chance to win a game, and he did the business decision and got out of the way.
And that's another thing. And Chris Bouchard is going to make a good point, but I'm just going to address that whole thing, man. Why? Why should he have jumped on that ball? With the chances of him getting hurt with all the bodies that's going to be flying his way. The Giants, I don't know when this play happened, like when this onside kick thing happened, what week it was, but the Giants weren't going to make the playoffs. Like, you're talking about their division alone, they still had to get through the Eagles and the Cowboys. And I don't remember the last time, can't remember the last time I seen 3 teams from one division actually make the playoffs. It could be when I believe it was when the Steelers, the Ravens, and Bengals made it. I forgot what year it was, but I believe all 3 of them made it one year, not too long ago. But the Giants weren't going to make the playoffs. And then it would have been stupid for him to risk his health, his body, for a loose ball. Unless this is the Super Bowl, or unless you need this win to make the playoffs. That's different. They weren't going to make the playoffs. There was way too many variables in place that would have prevented them. They needed everything to go their way for them to make the playoffs.
I mean, that's what this is about. You can't. At that point, it was a smart thing to do. No, it's not. For that team? No, it's not. Where's that team going? They weren't trying. Okay, you're gonna put that play over all the great things he did this season? Yes. He threw 2 touchdown passes. That's not even to mention how great he was as a receiver. He doesn't get paid to throw touchdown passes. Well, they don't have him throw the ball. Okay. When he throws it, he threw it well. All I'm saying is he doesn't get paid to be on the.
Oh yeah, his name is Doug Gottlieb.
Onside kick team. Yes, he does. He gets paid to be a receiver. That's the one problem you have with him, that he made a business decision in a year where we have no chance to make the playoffs. No, wait. He should have made a business decision. No, he should not have. He should have. Okay, would it be better to get hurt in a season where your season's lost and maybe you're hurt for the upcoming season? What's the best thing about Odell Beckham?
All right. Now, I was waiting for him to get to this point, and he actually said this dumb shit. And anybody who's a football fan that watches football, that have seen Odell Beckham play, know what his strengths are. Like I said, man, like I thought that Odell Beckham was overrated. I thought he was all hype. He was just a super athlete who was just being praised off of one great play he made in the regular season so many years ago. But then when I went back and looked at his highlight reel of some of the plays that wasn't touched on during the highlights, and I've never seen a receiver with the footwork that this dude has, and make it look so effortless, and he's so fast with it. I mean, this dude was literally crossing over defenders on the regular. I mean, and when you talk about the good things, great things this dude can do, man. He has phenomenal hands. Just on that play that he made alone. But there was also a play that I saw during the Giants practice where the quarterback threw the ball to Odell Beckham, and he literally grabbed the top of the ball while it was flying towards him. He took his hand, he grabbed the top of the ball with one hand over a defender's head. I mean, it was one of the most incredible fucking catches I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anybody catch a ball like that before and make it look so easy. He made that shit look easy, like he could do that 10 out of 10, back to back. Like, that shit was crazy, man. Like, I've never seen a play like that before. I mean, he's a super athlete, of course, but his footwork when it comes to route running is phenomenal, man. This dude has phenomenal footwork when it comes to route running. Being able to get open. Being able to force openings. This dude can force an opening. He could be smothered by a corner. But one hesitation and one jab step to the right that the cornerback don't see, and this dude's wide the fuck open. I seen a play. There was a play, and I'm gonna try to describe it as best I can. But there was a play where he was being covered by a corner on the left side of the field. So this dude, he ran it out. I believe he ran it out. He ran it out. He ran up, ran out. He caught the ball. He hit a step. As soon as the corner was about to converge on him, he hit a step, and he literally ran circles around the guy to get around him. I mean, that's how fast he was moving. A cornerback, a professional athletic cornerback, he literally ran circles around him to get around him. He made this nigga go in a circle after he caught the ball. Like, this dude is fucking incredible, man. If you've never seen Odell Beckham highlight reel of Odell Beckham, go watch that shit, man. As a young receiver, man, it'll be one of the most incredible things you've ever seen. And he appears to have an ability to manipulate the defense. You could call it football intelligence, whatever, but he has the ability to manipulate whatever corner's covering him. It's kind of how Chad Johnson was, where this dude would always just end up open. You never know how he ends up open or how the cornerback keeps letting him get free, but this dude ended up open all the time. And that's what he reminds me of.
His talent, his ability. What specific talent does he have that we are?
See, now this guy is being blatantly ignorant, and which is his right. It's his prerogative. If he chooses to be ignorant and make stupid arguments like this one, now that your argument fell through with him being a distraction and being bad for the team and he's the problem and all this other shit, how everybody likes to make Antonio Brown seem like the issue in Pittsburgh. He's trying to make the argument that Odell Beckham is the problem in New York, and if you get rid of him, it kind of alleviates all those issues. And then now that fell through because Chris Bouchard completely annihilated that whole claim, now he has to say, all right, why is he so talented then? Why is he this? Why is he that? Why is he so great? What can he do that's great? Now you're just being blatantly ignorant. That's like somebody coming out and fucking saying, what made Terrell Owens great? What made Randy Moss so great? What made Jerry Rice so great? And I'm not comparing him to talent to those guys, but if he gets on a team that's able to utilize his abilities properly, he's able to work on some of those personality issues that he apparently has, and he's able to get in a stable environment. And this is the reason why these players display unstable behavior, is because the environment that they play in is unstable. This is the problem with Antonio Brown. This is the problem with Odell Beckham. Unstable environment promotes unstable behaviors by the players. And that's the problem, man. The Giants have a lot of shit they need to figure out before you can start blaming. But see, because he's a black man, and I'm not trying to make this intentionally about race, but this is just the way it is, man. We're the problem. We have to take that on our jackets. Like this, it has to be us. We have to be the ones that's the issue. I mean, when Riley Cooper came out, when Riley Cooper was exposed for saying the fucking N-word at a concert, nobody was talking about this dude being a distraction in the locker room. Nobody talked about him possibly being an issue in the locker room and talked about getting rid of him. Chip Kelly was ready to fucking let go of LaShawn McCoy for his, I guess, gang-related activity. And same thing with fucking... Well, no. It was Deshaun Jackson. That was supposedly gang-related activity. LaShawn McCoy was... I guess he made a deal to get Kiko Alonso from Buffalo or whatever, which I believe was an asinine move. You trade an all-pro running back for a fucking linebacker that can't stay healthy, but because he went to your college and you possibly coached them, which I believe that's why he wanted Kiko, because he coached them. That was a stupid deal. And Jeffrey Lurie should have never let that happen. I mean, they still wound up winning the Super Bowl eventually anyway, but you shouldn't have never let LaShawn McCoy go, man. This dude was a great running back. But we're the problem, man. We're the problem. This is why loyalty in sports don't fucking matter, man. The loyalty should be to yourself, your family. You know? And if you believe in God, like, your loyalty should be what's important to you, what will be there after your football career is over, after your athletic career is over. It should be what's important to you. Not some fucking team who only drafted you because they thought that you could make them a shitload of money. The NFL is a circus. And you're a fucking lion, a tiger, or a fucking bear. And when you stop making them money, they move on.
Are all in awe that we watch. And he's a great receiver. You have an onside kick, dude. This is a team football game, and you're on the hands team, and the ball's coming your way. One thing. That's him returning to the Odell. It embodies the problem with Odell Beckham Jr. is that Odell Beckham Jr. is about Odell Beckham Jr.
Why shouldn't he be? Every player nowadays, anyway, are a business to themselves. They're a company to themselves. Their body is what makes them money. They should be very invested in themselves. And if Odell at that moment was like, yeah, I don't think this benefits me even if I get this back, why put yourself in that danger? If you don't have to take unnecessary risk, you don't take unnecessary risk. But this is the thing. This is the thing. He doesn't care. Doug Gottlieb doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care because if Odell Beckham gets hurt and goes down and he's out for the season, they're just going to find another person to come in and try to fill his fucking spot. Because in their mind, he's replaceable. He's replaceable. He's nothing but an object that's used for a certain purpose. And when that object isn't useful anymore, you just plug another object in it, hoping that it gets the job done. But it's very easy to move on. He is expendable. Odell has done nothing this year that warrants him this same vitriol that people thought that, served him right last year. Even though I thought that people were overreacting with this guy. And the reason why I keep bringing up Ben Roethlisberger is because it's just apparent about the double standard in sports. People make a big deal about Odell Beckham Jr., Antonio Brown, Terrell Owens, and they say all this negative shit. But when you bring up Ben Roethlisberger and his rape charge, nobody fucking talks about that shit anymore. Nobody talked about it really when it fucking happened. But they want to fucking socially assassinate Kareem Hunt. Gary and Conley, Joe Mixon.
Why did New England want him then? Because he's super talented and they're dumpster divers. The same reason they always.
But what makes him talent? I mean, what makes him talented? I'm sorry. What makes him talented? You just said what makes him so good? What makes him so great? If New England wanted him, what makes him so great, Doug Gottlieb? Now you answer that fucking question.
And who knows if they wanted him or they just want to make a call. Let's see.
They were liking that position. They were like
They're terrible wide receiver.
I'm sorry to keep pausing it, but this dude is funny. Listen and go back and look at this. Listen and look at Doug Gottlieb at this point of the video, and just look how flustered he is and how he's trying to make strong arguments against this dude, but none of his arguments are sticking, and he's panicking because he's running out of time, and none of his shit is working, and he's running out of material to use against him. Because the only two things that he has, his strongest points, which probably really is his only points, is that He did that interview throwing Eli Manning, which is the starting quarterback, under the bus, and he didn't jump on the onside kick to help his team win a meaningless game that probably wouldn't have resulted in them making the playoffs anyway.
They won a Super Bowl without anybody good outside the numbers.
But he would be tremendous.
Of course he would.
And my point is, I'm not saying he's perfect, but if last season he really wasn't, he's not the problem. If they get a quarterback, if they draft Dwayne Haskins and he's good,
yes,
they got Evan Ingram at tight end, Odell Beckham Jr. at receiver, Saquon Barkley at running back. I agree with you. I think that was a mistake, but he's still great. If you have those three and a good quarterback, you'll be hard.
Why are they still running with this storyline that drafting Saquon Barkley was a mistake? You needed a running back. I'm not saying that the running back position is more important than a quarterback position, but he was the best option at number 2. Let's say if they would have drafted Sam Darnold. Let's say if they would have drafted Josh Rosen, Josh Allen. Let's say if they would have drafted one of those guys. The chances of that working out is very small. That's why they didn't take Sam Darnold. This is why Sam Darnold was talked about being number 1 for most of the goddamn offseason up until the draft. And then like a couple weeks before the draft, Skip Bayless was the first person I heard talk about this. He said that Baker Mayfield may be the number 1 pick. Even though Sam Darnold was the favorite for damn near a year, probably I think 2 years. He was a favorite. He was a favorite 2 years ago to go number 1. And then he was a favorite last year to go number 1, like a couple weeks before the draft. And they went Baker Mayfield. He dropped down to the Jets at number 3, I believe. Number 3. Saquon was a home run hit. Even if he wasn't as great as advertised, even if he was half that, it still would have been a great pick. Versus a Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen. And respectively to all 3 of those guys, they're on really bad teams, really bad offensive lines, questionable coaching, and the pieces around them wasn't really geared for them to be successful. Especially Josh Allen. And honestly, I think Josh Allen is going to be special, man, because this dude was still able to show glimmers of hope when Buffalo looked like a dumpster fire. So, let me let them finish this little segment.
Hard pressed to find another team with a better trio of skill positions than those guys.
I understand, but we've seen this from the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you have great skill position guys, you don't have necessarily a football team. Remember, they shut him down. They shut him down at the end of
Do you know why? Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's the problem. You mean to tell me you have a revolving door of talent? A revolving door of talent and you're not able to win with any of it? At that point, it's the coach that's the problem. It's like if I'm drafting future Hall of Famer after future Hall of Famer. If I'm not able to win with this, I'm the problem.
He hasn't played every year.
What do you think the Giants should do? Do you think they should be looking to move him?
I would love to move him. The problem is now you're going to take a major cap hit, right? Now, because you signed this deal. He's a freak talent, okay? He is an absolute freak talent. He's special. But they got better.
Listen, when you route run as great as this dude does, it's not freak talent. You make it sound like it's a freak accident that this dude is this good. No. He probably works extremely hard. This dude went to LSU. I believe Les Miles was his coach. Or Urban Meyer. One of those guys was his coach. I believe it was Les Miles in LSU. He's playing under a great coach in college. He goes to the NFL. He plays for Tom Coughlin for a couple years. And then it's just a bevy of bullshit after that. But this dude, I'm pretty sure he works extremely hard on his skill set. It's not freak talent. He works hard for his talent. You can just tell. If you look at the complicated nature of a lot of the routes he runs to get open and catch the passes that he does, I mean, look, man, that shit just doesn't come natural to people, man. You just don't wake up one morning and you're a great route runner. It takes practice, man.
Unless they went to him last year. They just did. And they started to win football games.
With going to him or not.
I understand, but they started to win football games the less they looked for him. And I'm not disputing that they have an Eli problem. That's
alright, I'm gonna end it here.
If you run around writing runs all your life.
Alright, so that was about it. I didn't watch the rest of the video, so I don't really know what point he was gonna make up next. But Odell Beckham is a special talent. That talent should be respected. It should be admired. And I believe what these people are doing to him and his person and his character is criminal. It's criminal. Same thing with Antonio Brown. Who was it? Somebody made an analogy comparing Antonio Brown to a kid. You don't hold the kid accountable for the shit they learn from other people or the shit that they're allowed to get away with. When you have a spoiled kid, you don't blame the spoiled kid for being spoiled. Somebody spoiled him. Somebody allowed him to think that he's not wrong, no accountability, and he's free to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. You blame the parent for that. The parent allowed that to take place. They allowed that to go on. Mike Tomlin is the parent of that team in this analogy. He's responsible. Now, you can't really blame it on the coaches in New York, but that organization is responsible. Odell Beckham is a troubled guy, sure. He's a young dude with a lot of money who probably never learned how to act with his money or act with the fame. And he's learning as he goes. Like most of these young guys, which I think a lot of these young guys take way too much flack. They take way too much criticism. They're young dudes with millions of dollars, and the dudes that are criticizing them don't have not nearly as much money as they do. And I believe a lot of these commentators, man, that throw shade at these players for unknown reasons is nothing but jealousy. Like Doug Gottlieb is coming off as jealous. Like when you ask a colleague what makes this person great at what they do when they're at the top of their class at what they do, what makes them so great, it just shows how ignorant you are, that you don't know, or you don't know what makes them so popular, or you don't know what makes them so effective on the football field. It makes you look incompetent and ignorant, or ignorant. Like, anyway, that's it on that.